They say you never truly heal from losing the ones you love. You just learn to live with the holes they leave behind. But what happens when the past you buried knocks on your door? And it's wearing a badge? The night the cops told me my husband and son had just been in a car crash. I thought it was a cruel joke, because my husband and son had been dead for 5 years, and that was only the beginning. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love stories that take you right to the edge of reality, the kind that make you question everything you think you know, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and comment below with your thoughts. Trust me, you're going to want to talk about this one. Now, let's get into it. It was a Monday night. Rain hammered the roof, the kind of relentless drumming that seeps into your bones. I was sitting at the kitchen table, staring at a half-eaten dinner, absent-mindedly twirling my fork. The house was too quiet. It always was these days. I had just gotten up to pour myself a glass of wine when I heard it. 3 sharp knocks at the door. My heart jumped. No one ever visited me anymore. Not since the accident. I peered through the peephole and saw 2 uniformed officers standing there, soaked from the rain, their faces grave. I opened the door slowly. "Mrs. Albright?" one of them asked, voice heavy with something I couldn't quite place. "Yes," I said, my throat dry. The taller officer exchanged a look with his partner. "I'm sorry to bother you, ma'am. There's been an accident, a vehicle crash, involving your husband and son." I blinked. The world tilted. "You must be mistaken," I stammered. "My husband and son they're gone. They died 5 years ago." Silence hung between us, thick and strange. The younger cop pulled out a small notepad, flipping to a page. "Sir Daniel Albright and a minor, Luke Albright, confirmed by ID found at the scene," he said. "They're being transported to St. Mary's Hospital now." I gripped the edge of the doorframe, my knuckles white. "I don't understand," I whispered. "How could that be?" "I buried them. I saw them." But the cops weren't backing down. "Ma'am," the older officer said gently, "I know this is confusing. We need you to come with us." The ride to the hospital was a blur. I kept my eyes glued to the rain-soaked window, my mind racing in circles. Was it a mistake? A cruel prank? Identity theft? But in the pit of my stomach, something else churned. Something I hadn't felt in years. A cold, familiar dread. At St. Mary's, the fluorescent lights hummed overhead as the officers led me down a sterile hallway. We stopped outside room 3B. "Prepare yourself," one of them said. I pushed open the door and gasped. Lying in the hospital beds were 2 bodies. Bruised, battered, but unmistakably them. Daniel. Luke. My husband. My son. Tears blurred my vision. I stumbled back, my legs giving out beneath me. This can't be real," I cried. "They're dead! They're dead!" A nurse entered, glancing at the officers. "They're stable. The boy has a concussion. The man has a fractured rib," she said matter-of-factly. I staggered to Daniel's bedside. His eyelids fluttered. "Marissa," he croaked, hearing my name from his lips. The lips of a man I had mourned, grieved, buried, shattered something inside me. They said they had been driving down Old Mill Road when the crash happened. Old Mill Road, the very place where they died 5 years ago. I sat there, my mind screaming in protest as they recounted how they swerved to avoid an animal and hit a tree. Exactly how it happened before. Every detail, the same, except this time, they survived. When I asked the hospital for records, they had none. No admission history for either of them before tonight. The officers who brought me there? They had vanished. The police department said no one had been dispatched to my home. No report of a crash on Old Mill Road. No call to 911 logged. It was as if none of it had ever happened, except it had. I could see Daniel and Luke breathing right in front of me. The days blurred together after that. I brought them home, though a gnawing fear clung to me like a second skin. Things were off. Daniel would sometimes stare out the window for hours, muttering under his breath words I couldn't understand. Luke, once a bubbly boy who loved superheroes, now spoke in a flat monotone, asking strange questions like, "Mommy, what happens when people forget you?" One night I found Daniel in the basement, carving symbols into the concrete floor. When I demanded to know what he was doing, he looked at me with hollow eyes and said, "Making sure we stay this time." I started to notice other things. Mirrors cracking when I walked by. The television flickering static even when unplugged. The air turning icy cold in their presence. It was as if the universe itself rejected them. I couldn't take it anymore. I went to the cemetery. I stood before two graves. Their graves. The headstones were cracked, weather-worn, but they were there. I knelt down and brushed the leaves aside, and my blood froze. The earth had been disturbed. Recently, fresh claw marks marred the soil, like something had crawled out. I stumbled back, heart hammering. That night I confronted Daniel. "Who? What are you?" I whispered. He smiled sadly. "We're he said. "You wanted us back, so we came." "I didn't. I never," I sobbed. "You cried for us, every night. You begged. You made a wish, and someone listened." He stepped closer. But wishes always have a price. Luke stood behind him, his small face expressionless, shadowed. "Don't send us back, Mommy," he said. I realized then, they weren't my Daniel and Luke. Not really. They were echoes, fragments, things that wore their faces, spoke with their voices, but weren't truly them. A wish granted by something ancient and cruel. I had to make a choice. Keep them, knowing they were unnatural, knowing every second with them chipped away at my own sanity, or set them free. I thought about the real Daniel, the real Luke, what they would have wanted for me. I lit a fire in the backyard that night. I threw into it the clothes they wore, the things they touched, the objects that tethered them here. I wept as the flames devoured every last memory. They watched silently from the shadows, faces twisted with sadness, and something like understanding. By dawn, they were gone. I visit their graves often now. The ground is still. The headstones are cold, just as they should be. But sometimes when the rain drums against the roof and the night feels too long, I swear I hear footsteps in the hall. A soft knock at the door, a whisper of my name. And I wonder, was it really my wish that brought them back? Or something else entirely, waiting, watching for me to make another? Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you found yourself holding your breath like I did living through it, please subscribe for more stories that walk the line between reality and the unknown. Don't forget to hit that like button if you felt chills and comment below. Would you have kept them if you had the chance? Or would you have let them go too? I'll be reading all your comments. See you in the next story.